Okay, thank you for confirmation. So now we'll start where we have left in last lecture. Just in, so we were discussing, we are trying to understand what are ointment. So in that we have seen that key ointment are the property of which ointment possessed by the ointment are is that they act as a protective or emollient. Okay, so most of the time they have ointment have a property to act as an emollient. Okay, what do you mean by emollient then? Okay, before that, these ointment, mostly medicated ointments, are meant for action on epidermis or for on deeper layer of cutaneous tissue, or to penetrate deep and release medicament to the body fluid. Now, depending upon type of drug delivery system we are designing, ointment which are meant for application to the skin, they can act on superficial region, like they may act on the epidermis, which is the top layer of the skin. Okay, और sometimes ointment formulation हम ऐसे बनाते हैं कि when applied to the skin के through they penetrate into deeper layers, mean deeper layer of skin जो है there your drug may penetrate. Okay, your drug may penetrate, and it may even penetrate to such a stage that where like in deeper layer of skin, obviously there will be like you if you go deep enough, so there will be blood capillaries available. Okay, or the fluids which are available, body fluid, mostly blood capillaries containing blood. So if they reach to that much deep, they will be absorbed into blood. Okay, so we can also intend to get such action. Okay, means orally formulation, we know that orally we are administering medicines. Ultimately, through GI tract, it gets absorbed into blood circulation and then it show effect. So we can also have, or we can also directly, in case of emergency, we can go for injection, where we administer drug directly to the blood capillaries, or we introduce drug into directly blood, that is body fluid. So that is the second way we can reach to the blood circulation. This is also another choice if we can go, that is through the skin, apply formulation on surface of skin. But yes, when we apply formulation through the surface of skin, जो like it may like time will depends or time will vary according to how formulation we are preparing. अगर इंजेक्शन एडमिनिस्टर करते हैं डायरेक्टली ब्लड सर्कुलेशन में वी इंजेक्ट द मेडिसिन, सो देयर साइट like their onset of action will start immediately, means drug will show its effect immediately or within very short period of time. Effect of the drug will be experienced. Oral route के through medicine लेते हैं, it goes to the stomach and then GI, intestine, and then it absorb, it goes to the liver, and then from it goes to the general circulation and then it shows the effect. So it takes some time when medicine is taken through oral route. Likewise, when medicines in the form of formulation, if it is applied on surface of skin, it is also going to take some time. It will not be a instant action like that of injection. But yes, if medicine, if the drug demands that it is to be taken through superficial or it is to be applied on skin, then we can consider that formulating such medicine into a semi-solid like ointment and the other formulation where we can get the obviously we have to modify that delivery in such a way that it reaches to the blood, means we have to select additives accordingly, and the formulation factor we have to consider if we intend that drug to go into body fluid. Okay, coming back to this point, ointment are protective or emollient. Okay, so when we apply ointment on surface of skin, we apply that and we spread on the particular region of the surface of skin. So when we spread this ointment on particular region, that area obviously is getting protected because of the application which we have applied. Okay, and then it also act as an emollient. So let us see what is emollient means. Emollient means now emollients means these are the agent which are going to cause emollient effect. These are the agent which are going to cause emollient effect. Now, when your ointment, when do they act as an emollient? When we say that they act as an emollient, at that time when it increases moisture level of the skin. Okay, so when do we require that moisture level of skin should be increased? When do we require that moisture level of skin to be increased? Which are the condition when we feel that the skin has lost the moisture and it needs to be brought back to the normal level? When do we feel, can we feel that moisture level of the skin is reduced? Through observation, yes. Yes, but what is the indication that moisture level is dropped? Dry. Dry, skin become dry and rough. Okay, so that means moisture level of skin is reduced. So what you can do, you can act as an agent which will act as an emollient, especially through formulation that is known as ointment. Okay, yes, the skin, like preparations which are applied on skin, many preparation they can act as an emollient. And how do they act as an emollient? So when we apply that agent on surface of skin, for example in this image, when we apply this on surface of skin, they form a film. ये जो formulation है, it will be obviously spread better. So he has just started how to apply the formulation. So it will be spreaded over a surface of skin, and for example this region of skin now will be protected or it will be covered, since this formulation is forming a film over the surface of skin. Now this film, because of this film, or here you can see that on the entire hand it is spread evenly. So when it is spread, when it is covered on the surface of skin, it is going to spread in the form of film. And now what is the duty of that film is that ki jo skin, yes, the body has a natural mechanism where in order to maintain the normal body temperature, skin plays an important role. Okay, through evaporation of heat and moisture. So body जो है, through this body के जो skin है, through this moisture and heat, it gets continuously evaporated or released so that it keeps the normal temperature of the body. Okay. But in winter, what happen? This evaporation of moisture leads to drying out and irritation of the skin. So what we can do? We can apply this formulation with the emollient effect. So when these formulations are applied, they protect the skin. And while protecting, what do they do is that skin से जो moisture release हो रहा है, उसको वो trap करेगा. Okay, so skin से moisture evaporate नहीं होगा, so उसकी वजह से क्या होगा? Moisture will be retained on the surface of skin. So it will become from dry, it will become soft skin with the increased moisture level. Okay, so now these formulations we can incorporate, sorry, this emollient agent we can incorporate in lotion, cream, ointment, gel, any type of formulation. Okay, so that is the emollient effect. What is emollient effect? Emollient effect is the effect which we achieved when we apply formulation on the surface of skin, and because of that applied formulation forms a film over the surface of skin and thereby preventing evaporation of moisture from the skin. Okay, now here also if we can then compare, see, if we can then compare uh, emolliency effect. Okay, if we can compare emolliency effect, okay, between, for example, here what we have seen that ointment, cream, creams and gels. Okay, so we can compare ointment and cream with respect to emolliency effect. Now how we can compare is जो ointment है उसका जो film रहेगा वो and it also depends upon the ointment base which we are using. Okay, so few films which are formed, they are very intact. Okay, so they are very intact, I mean they वो इतना इंटैक्ट रहेगा कि जिससे जो फॉर्मुलेशन अप्लाई करने के बाद जो है मॉइस्चर इवेपोरेट नहीं होगा एंड स्किन विल बिकम लाइक स्किन में मॉइस्चर रिटेन होगा एंड इट में ऑल्सो कॉज मैसेरेशन मीन्स ज़्यादा जो लाइक for example, skin, like a person will feel that more amount of water or moisture is retained on the skin. Okay, so this may also cause discomfort if your uh, formulation is more emollient. Okay, if it is less emollient, what will happen? It will allow certain level of moisture to get evaporated and certain of amount of moisture will get retained. Okay, so when we compare ointment and cream, ointment will be more emollient with respect like as compare with the cream. Cream जो है they will be less emollient compare with the ointment. Okay. So now can anyone tell me with respect to efficiency what is the meaning of more emollient and less emollient? Ointment are more emollient means what compared to the creams? What does this mean? What does this mean? Ointment are more emollient compared with the compared with creams. Why do we are stating this statement? What is the meaning of more emollient means? Yes. What is the meaning of more emollient formulation? What is the meaning of more emollient formulation? Anyone? Can anyone? What is the meaning of more emollient formulation? Swarya, आवाज कमी कर please. Yes. Yes, try and attempt. I have just explained कि what is the meaning of more emollient means. Emollient means क्या है? Emollient means मॉइस्चर रिटेन करता है. मोर इमोलियंट मीन्स ज्यादा मॉइस्चर रिटेन करेगा. लेस इमोलियंट मीन्स कम मॉइस्चर रिटेन करेगा. Okay, so depending upon your requirement how much amount of moisture do you want to retain, you will go for either ointment or you will go for cream. Okay, sometimes what may happen is that more moisture retention more moisture retention is may also increase. ज़्यादा means imagine that skin is now become almost wet after application of formulation. Okay, so wet means more amount of moisture, more amount of water. So sometimes what may happen is that having this more amount of moisture on surface of skin can help जो formulation में drug रहेगा उसको absorb करने में into deeper layer of skin. It may help. So that may also be the situation. Okay, so that is the emollient effect. Okay, so you will remember emollient because we are going to again going to discuss this emollient effect with respect to different type of ointment bases. So we will be discussing different type of ointment bases with different type of emollient capability or emolliency. Next, now we know that ointment, they are also like ophthalmic ointments are also available. Ophthalmic ointment means they are applied to the eyes. So hence they are referred to as ophthalmic ointment. We'll take one formulation example of this ophthalmic ointment, which is very important in terms of practical point of view. Okay, so we'll take one example. Swarya, mute करना. Swarya, आवाज कमी कर. हाँ. So first requirement of ophthalmic ointment is that since they are applied to the eyes, they must be sterile and free from irritation. Okay, So it should not contain any particle which may cause irritation to the eyes. Since eyes are very sensitive, we should carefully formulate ophthalmic ointment by keeping it sterile as well as free from irritation. Now, in last lecture, I mentioned that ointment when we prepare, it consists of two parts, two component. एक तो ointment base रहता है और दूसरा drug. Okay. So uh, one example of base is which we commonly use is simple ointment. Okay. Now this simple ointment, this simple ointment is actually composed of more than one ingredient, and one of which is soft paraffin. One of which is soft paraffin. So this is hydrocarbon base, which we'll be discussing shortly. That जो simple ointment है, which we are going to use in making ophthalmic ointment. Uh, one of its component is soft paraffin. Now ये जो soft paraffin है, it is available in two forms, yellow soft paraffin and white soft paraffin. Okay, जो soft paraffin है, it is available in two form, yellow and white. Okay. Now जो means the original soft paraffin जो है वो yellow soft paraffin. It depends, yes, as the name suggests, yellow is yellow colored and white is white in appearance. Now why it is white in appearance? Because ये जो it is prepared from yellow soft paraffin. Okay. So yellow soft paraffin का जो yellow color है उसको decolorize करते हैं by using bleaching agent. Okay. So yellow soft paraffin जो है procedure normally, if you want white soft paraffin to use, like many formulation they are maybe transparent or white in color. So in that formulation we'll prefer white soft paraffin. But how do we get white soft paraffin? We obtain this white soft paraffin from yellow soft paraffin. Okay, so yellow का white soft paraffin करते हैं by process known as bleaching. Okay, so any formulation which are transparent or white in color will go for white soft paraffin. Why? Because if we add yellow soft paraffin, it is going to change the color of entire formulation. Okay, so in order to prevent that, we most of the time use white soft paraffin. Okay, but in case of ophthalmic preparation, we have to be very careful because the process where we convert yellow soft paraffin to white soft paraffin is attained with the help of bleaching agent. So we add bleaching agent to this yellow soft paraffin, and then we process the formulation, and then we get the white soft paraffin. Okay, so when we do this bleaching process, what happen is that कि जो bleaching agent है, traces of it may remain into white soft paraffin. Okay, your formulation gets white in appearance, but your paraffin may contain traces of bleaching agent. Okay, uh, and these bleaching agent, if they are present in white soft paraffin, and if we use such paraffin in making simple ointment, which will be if we use such ointment in making ophthalmic preparation, जो bleaching agent के वजह से formulation may cause irritation to the eyes. Okay, bleaching agent, if the traces of it are present in white soft paraffin, and such white soft paraffin if we use in ophthalmic ointment, that bleaching agent may cause irritation to the eyes. So which paraffin will use for ophthalmic ointment? Okay, so we should go for which ointment? Which paraffin? Yes. So this is the this example you have to remember. Uh, that like this is example like case study जैसे example है कि for ophthalmic ointment we should use only yellow soft paraffin. For other ointment which are applied on the surface of skin, we can go for white soft paraffin. Even if it contains traces of bleaching agent, this is not going to irritate the surface of skin, but it can irritate the mucosa of eyes. So we need to be careful and we have to select yellow soft paraffin. Let's move on further. Yes, very important thing is that like we have seen ointment जो है we prepare ointment where one of the important component is ointment base. Without ointment base we cannot prepare ointment. Okay, so this act as a carrier. जो ointment base है it act as a carrier in which how do we incorporate drug, how do we incorporate ointment in ointment base, how do we incorporate drug, in which form do we have this available. Yes, yes, in which, no, I'll modify my question. In which form these drugs they exist in ointment formulation? Uh, Again, what property of drug? Like, so these are available as in solubilized state or dispersed state, or they are emulsified. Okay, so we take a drug and then we mix with the ointment base. Depending upon the nature of the drug, nature of the ointment base, it may solubilize, it may remain as a disperse, or it may be emulsified. Obviously, we before preparing ointment, that we will be knowing कि in what form we will be having drug available into ointment. Okay, these things will be obviously trying before itself कि जो drug है whether it is solubilized in, अगर solubilized है तो how we are going to get, अगर insoluble है so like how we have to proceed, we have to triturate the drug, sieve the drug accurately way, and then again mix it with this ointment base. Okay, so depending upon its solubility we can have this drug available into ointment dosage form. Okay, so yes, we will be requiring this ointment base. Why we are requiring ointment base? Because we will be needing some carrier which is going to be used to carry the medicine in the form of ointment, in the form of semi-solid consistency. We'll be needing these ointment bases so that it can be effectively applied, it can be spread easily on surface of skin, majorly on surface of skin. Maximum ointment they are used on surface of skin, and the small portion on the mucosal areas. Okay, so what does this ointment bases do? They act as a carrier. They carry your drug to the site of action, that is on surface of skin. So they also give this semi-solid consistency to your formulation. Okay, so how should be your ointment base? There are certain properties which your ointment base should possess. Okay, which are the desirable properties of ointment base or ideal properties of ointment base? Now, may I ask you again now, what is ointment base? Any example of or any component of ointment base? What are ointment base? Why they are used? Any example? Yes, any example of ointment base? That is an example of ointment formulation. इस ऐसा ointment जिसमें सल्फर हम लोग यूज करते हैं. Any component of ointment base? Why do we use, why there is requirement of like taking bases, ointment bases in formulation? What is the use of ointment base? To mix with particular drug, and to have a semi solid like formulation. It carries, like जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं कि why do we have different type of dosage form? It serves various purposes. In case of ointment base, it carries the formulation toward the like it takes your formulation till surface of the skin. If we don't have ointment, how we going to apply a drug on the surface of skin? We need any, like we need a particular formulation, and in this case that particular formulation is ointment. So ointment bases are required which acts as a carrier of your drug. Okay, so they give bulk, they add property to your formulation, like they give semi-solid consistency, they give bulk to the formulation, they make it easy to spread the formulation on surface of skin. So they are, though they are additive, they are essential part of your formulation. Without ointment base, you cannot prepare ointment. You do need ointment base for preparing your ointment. Example of which can be sulfur ointment. I have just few minutes back mentioned one component of ointment base. Anyone remember? Yes, correct. Okay, so soft paraffin is one of the component of ointment base. Okay. Now, if we are using ointment base, what properties this ointment base should possess? पहले, it should be inert, odorless and smooth. If ointment base which we are taking, it should be inert, means it should not interact with skin. It should remain, it should stay inert. It should not interact with the skin. It should not interact with drug. जो ऑइंटमेंट बेस में हम लोग ड्रग मिक्स कर रहे हैं, वो जो बेस है वो ऐसा होना चाहिए कि इन प्रेजेंस ऑफ दैट बेस योर ड्रग शुड रिमेन स्टेबल. वो बेस अगर इनर्ट रहेगा तो ही ये पॉसिबल है. सो देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी रिएक्शन बिटवीन योर ऑइंटमेंट बेस एंड ड्रग. And how this thing can be achieved if your ointment base is inert, inactive with respect to chemical reaction. It should be odorless. Simple thing is it should be odorless in order to make it acceptable. It should be smooth. If it is to be applied on surface of skin, it should be smooth. It should not be gritty. Irritation नहीं होना चाहिए ointment apply करने के बाद. Ointment should be physically यानी chemically stable. It should remain physically and chemically stable. Now, why do we require this stability? We require stability for your formulation. When we see that ointment base, they should also be stable both physically and chemically. Now what does this mean? Means that कि जो ointment base हमने prepare किया है, जो semi solid consistency का है, it should remain in that semi solid consistency. It should not become more viscous, or it should not convert to uh, rigid consistency or solid consistency. At the same time, it should not convert itself to fluid consistency. Okay, so that change should not happen. And it should be chemically stable. It should not undergo any degradation reaction like hydrolysis, oxidation, etc. अगर ऐसे reaction होते हैं तो तुम्हारा जो ड्रग है इट बिकम्स अनस्टेबल. अगर ड्रग जो है वो केमिकली अनस्टेबल हो गया तो वो अपीयरेंस वाइज भी उसमें चेंजेस आएंगे. इट मे चेंज कलर, इट मे चेंज द कंसिस्टेंसी. सो इट शुड बी इनर्ट so that it can remain chemically and physically stable. Okay. It should be compatible with skin and with the incorporated medicament. As we have seen कि जो हम लोग बेस यूज कर रहे हैं, that base should be compatible with the skin. Means that base after application, this formulation on surface of skin, it should be compatible. Means there should not be any reaction of your base with the skin. And at the same time, that base in which we are incorporating our drug, so drug should also remain stable in presence of this ointment base. Okay, so it should be compatible with both skin as well as the drug. It should be of such consistency that it spreads when applied to the skin. Imagine when you are applied this to the on the surface of skin, तो उसका कंसिस्टेंसी ऐसा होना चाहिए. अगर वो हार्ड हो गया तो इट विल बी डिफिकल्ट टू स्प्रेड ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ स्किन. अगर वो लिक्विड कंसिस्टेंसी का रहेगा तो अप्लाई करने के बाद क्या होगा, इट विल फ्लोट और इट विल फ्लो ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ स्किन. तो वो ज़्यादा हार्ड भी नहीं होना चाहिए जिसकी वजह से वो स्प्रेडिंग में डिफिकल्टी आएगा, और वो लिक्विड कंसिस्टेंसी का भी नहीं है होना चाहिए. अगर लिक्विड कंसिस्टेंसी का रहेगा तो वो साइट ऑफ एप्लीकेशन में नहीं रहेगा. इट विल फ्लो from that region to another region. It will not confined to particular region of the skin. So that is not desirable. It should be of such consistency that it should spread when applied on the skin. Then it should not retard healing of wound. Okay, so when ointments are applied on surface of skin, for example, it is applied on wound or abraded region, means skin पे अगर wound हुआ है, तो that should be उसका like ointment ऐसा होना चाहिए with the medicament that it should promote the healing. It should promote the healing of the wound. It should not interfere with the healing of wound. Healing of wound जो है will be achieved through the drug. We have invented drug which are going to be helpful in healing the wound. Okay. अभी वो जो ड्रग है उसको वो wound तक लेके जाने का ड्यूटी है ऑइंटमेंट बेस का. So this base should effectively confine your drug while in ointment formulation to that particular wound. Base should not have any effect on healing property of your drug or healing of that wound. Okay, so it should not have such kind of interaction. Base should not cause any irritation or sensitization of the skin. Okay, many a time when we have formulation which are applied on surface of skin, or we also have cosmetics which are applied on surface of skin. So when we apply such preparation on surface of skin, we should do this testing, that is skin irritation and sensitization. Okay, so this is the test which we perform for cosmetics or for preparation which are applied topically. What is this test is that we have to check कि जो skin पे formulation apply करने के बाद whether it is causing any irritation or sensitization. Like in few people, if they are sensitive or allergic, we can add this word. If they are allergic, what may happen is that after application of formulation, there can be itching or redness of the skin. Okay, like we can say over here is that few people are allergic to some preparations. Okay, that exception we can accept, but with respect to your preparation, eh, when it is being applied or when the studies are undertaken for its sensitivity, तुम्हारा formulation ऐसा होना चाहिए कि it should not cause any irritation, allergic reaction or sensitivity to larger population. Okay, maybe for example 10,000 population ने use किया तुम्हारा formulation जिसमें तुम्हारा ointment base तुम test कर रहे हो whether it is safe or not, तो वो 10,000 population में if a few number of people if they get maybe in 100 or less than that, so then it will be okay. But 10,000 में से अगर 1,000 people if they are developing sensitization or allergic reaction, so then that will be cause of concern. So for any time when you develop these semi-solid preparation which are meant to be applied on surface of skin, you have to be sure that the base which you are using, the drug which you are using, whether it is safe or whether it is causing any sensitization or allergic reaction. So you need to check that down. Okay, so ideal properties we have seen. These are the ideal properties. Now we have four types of ointment bases: oleaginous, absorption, emulsion and water soluble bases. Okay, four broad classes are there of ointment bases, and under that there are example like hydrocarbon base का example soft paraffin, liquid paraffin, hard paraffin, paraffins. All the paraffins are there under this example, under this type, that is oleaginous. उसका other name है hydrocarbon. Okay, then absorption bases are there, emulsion bases, water soluble, mostly macrogol bases are water soluble bases. So chemically they are macrogol. Okay, so we have these four different types of ointment bases. We can use any one of them. And now here point to be noted is that we can use, like we can prepare ointment by using any of the ointment base, whether hydrocarbon, absorption, emulsion or water soluble. Now which base to be selected, it depends upon property of your drug, और द डिजायरेबल प्रॉपर्टी विच यू वांट टू अचीव, मीन्स जो स्किन पे है वो उसको इमोलिएंट इफेक्ट चाहिए तुम्हारे फॉर्मुलेशन का, या फिर कम इमोलिएंट इफेक्ट चाहिए, या फिर तुम्हारा जो ड्रग है वो उसका नेचर क्या है, ऑयली है, इंसॉल्युबल सॉलिड्स है, या फिर aqueous बेस्ड ड्रग है. So many criteria are there. Based on that you can select ointment base from these four different types of ointment. Now any base you can take, but in any of the base which you are selecting you cannot expect that all these properties are to be possessed by, these are the ideal properties. Okay, so you can select base in such a way that you reach as close to the ideal property as possible, but it may not be possible that all the properties, all the ideal properties to be possessed by your ointment base. Okay, so now it will be like up to us as a formulation scientist ki, which property is more important to you, and then go for ointment formulation. Okay, four types as I mentioned, ointment bases are classified into these four types. Very important thing, you have to remember these four different type of ointment bases. कौन सा है? Can anyone read it out? Can anyone read it out? Come on, quickly. Oleogenous. Oleogenous. हाँ. हाँ. Hmm. Okay. You have to remember this. Now ये जो first oleogenous base है, oily consistency, oily, it falls towards the oily side. Okay, and they are hydrocarbon bases. Okay, now they are also like these hydrocarbon means constituent containing hydrocarbon chains. Okay, so since इसके जो कंपोनेंट्स है वाइट सॉफ्ट सॉरी जो सॉफ्ट पैराफिन, हार्ड पैराफिन एंड लिक्विड पैराफिन, these are the three example of hydrocarbon bases. So all the paraffins they are hydrocarbon in composition, so hence this type they are also known as hydrocarbon bases. Other name for this is oleogenous bases. You will remember both things are same, these are synonym. Hydrocarbon bases they are also referred to as oleogenous bases. Okay, this is one type of ointment base. What is the other type? Absorption. What is the third type of base? Emulsion. Anyone who will mention last type of base? Yes. Water soluble. Water soluble. Okay. So I think I'll take this hydrocarbon bases. Examples are also there. But before that, what properties these hydrocarbon bases possess? Ek. First, they are not absorbed by the skin. Second, they are immiscible with water, since we are saying that they are, or they are oily in nature, so they are immiscible with water. ऑयल फेज है तो वाटर फेज में वो immiscible रहेगा. They are sticky, they are almost inert. Okay, so this property, हाँ, okay, and they have low water absorption, and then their constituents are readily available and cheap. We have to understand these properties. Discussion on these properties of hydrocarbon bases will do in next lecture. So for the time being, I'll stop over here. You remember these properties of oleogenous bases. They are not absorbed by the skin, so that they remain only on superficial region. They doesn't go deeper on the deeper through the skin layer. They are immiscible with water. They are sticky in nature. They are almost inert. Their water absorption is low, and their constituents are readily available. So I'll stop over here. We'll continue in next lecture.